this is John Stiles, real estate agent and real estate investor. Thanks for tuning into my channel, Real Estate Styles, where I share helpful tips on all things real estate. Today, I am joined by Michael Haig with Haig Law Offices, and we're going to discuss the topic of probate. So, Michael, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
And so tell me in brief, what is probate?
Yeah, I guess from a high level, probate is the process that a person's estate has to go through after they pass away, unless there has been some planning done. The reason for that is what probate is where the court will come in and oversee the administration and distribution of a deceased person's assets. And that's to make sure that it gets done correctly. We don't want people dying and having a free-for-all on their stuff. And probate is the place where the will gets administered, and sometimes the court will or maybe won't make sure that what the deceased person requested in the will, that's what happens. And property gets distributed, title gets transferred on titled assets, and basically cleaning up a person's estate, selling it off, and moving on.
Okay, great. And as it relates to real estate, is there some real estate that goes through probate and others that doesn't?
All real estate is going to go through probate unless there's been some planning. And by planning, I mean there's been some other thing done to the real estate so that when the person passes away, it can automatically be transferred without having to go through the court. So that, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, okay. And so say you're in the probate process and you've been assigned as the personal representative. Do you have to wait till the very end of the probate in order to sell that real estate, or can it be done earlier on?
It can be done early on. When you start the process of probating an estate, you should try to, as you being the personal representative in your scenario, you should try to make sure you take advantage of market conditions. And there are times of the year when it's best to sell the house, and your fiduciary role is going to be to try to get as much as you can for the house. So if you just started the probate, and this is where I will advise clients that, look, let's do it based on this timing so that we can get the house on the market, and we do it before the market goes cold, which it typically does with the winter weather, although this year that didn't happen. So you can sell it at any time. The only thing is that after you sell it, the proceeds of the sale go into an account that's in the name of the estate of the decedent, and those proceeds have to stay there until all creditor claims have been satisfied, and the court basically gives you the approval to go ahead and distribute whatever's left over to the heirs.
Okay. And do you work very closely with the personal representative's real estate agent, or do you leave it up to them to figure out the sales process?
We do. We work directly with the agents, title companies. We review, make sure that the title commitment and everything is accurate. We actually draft the deed that takes place. And that goes back to your first question too, John, that you asked about why does real estate go through probate and what forms of real estate. The issue here is that when you sell your property, you have what's called a deed, you have a title, and the property's titled in your name. Well, if you're deceased, you can't sign a deed to transfer it to another person. So then the deed of sale doesn't say, in my instance, if I was deceased, from Michael Haig to so-and-so, because I'm not able to sign it. So the probate process, the court will give you the authority as the personal representative to sign that deed. And I think that
great.
kind of answers your question.
Okay, so it seems a pretty in-depth process to make sure it's done correctly. What sets your law office apart from some of the other options if a personal representative is trying to choose how to proceed?
Well, and it goes back to your last question about us working. We work directly with the title companies. We kind of take care of it all. So the personal representative, who most of the time doesn't really know what they're doing, they can lean on us. And I have a really solid staff that does most of the work, which keeps my time to a minimum and therefore keeps the expense to a minimum. My primary paralegal has over 15 years of experience doing almost exclusively probate. So we've seen just about everything you can imagine. And that experience, our being able to leverage that, our connections with title companies and with real estate companies, people like yourself, John, to help make the process as smooth as possible. And anybody who's ever known somebody or has been in the role of being a personal representative will tell you it can be really, really difficult if the estate wasn't well planned.
Okay. And do you work with people as well on the pre-planning stages so that the probate process can be a little bit easier?
We do, and actually if they come to us pre-planning, we can make it so there is no probate usually.
Okay.
And for most people we work with, which is your typical middle-class household, elderly couple, or maybe just a single person, the number one asset they have in their estate is the house. And if their estate assets, not thinking about the house, all their personal belongings are less than $50,000 in total net worth, then the law doesn't require a probate. It would just be a simple will reading where the personal representative gives away your stuff to whomever you choose. But for most of us, we have a house, and the house automatically trips us over that. So the big issue for most of our clients is how can we make it so the house is non-probate? And we have a couple pretty simple ways of doing that. We could create a trust, which is a little bit more complicated. Or in Minnesota, we have what's called a transfer on death deed, which you sign during your life. And it says basically, upon my death, the house shall be transferred to my children equally. And then that makes it so that now with just a simple affidavit and a death certificate, they can transfer that out of your name without having to go through the court process.
Okay. Well, Michael, if somebody would like to get a hold of you, whether this is pre-planning or if somebody has already passed away and they just need to go through the probate process, what's the best way that they can reach you?
They can reach me through my website, which is www.haag-law.com, and Haag is spelled H-A-A-G, and my telephone number is 612-255-5182.
Well, great. I really appreciate you helping us understand the probate process. And thank you for tuning in to my channel. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do share it with your friends so that they can be prepared through this process. And don't forget to subscribe so you can learn more information about real estate here in Minnesota. Thank you and have a great day.